So I've been a huge supporter of the Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. I think it's been a very enjoyable show, but I'm also the person who's been saying ever since really the wrong way to use healing magic came out, I feel like healing magic has probably some of, if not the most potential in terms of a magical power system in anime. It doesn't get used a lot, but I think there's so many creative ways to use healing magic in way more ways than just, oh, I heal a character, because that's not really that interesting. It's not really that interesting as a video game mechanic. It's useful, but, there's more exciting. But whether it's characters rapidly healing their bodies to increase their endurance and not having to have fatigue set in and rest, to rapidly healing people in the middle of life or death battles and seeing how they can push themselves to the limits. A lot of fun ideas. But there's even more interesting ways to use healing magic in ways that I didn't even comprehend. So Buddy in the last episode, I guess, made a pact with the devil here who turns him into a giant golem. He's running amok. So given that the core is embedded into his torso, we gotta destroy that, but that would probably also kill him. So killing him to stop the golem, that makes sense. Even trying to heal him to maybe, but here's the thing. Imagine a show that says we're going to do the most next level brutal surgery known to man. Where a man, so he doesn't just chip away the whole thing, because that's going to kill him. So he bit by bit is essentially killing him, but healing him right at the right moment to keep him alive. So he's attacking the crystal, breaking apart chunks of it, like 1/100th of it at a time, and healing him moments before death. So essentially what we have is this man almost nearly killing him 100 times to then save his life. But the thing is he still feels that pain 100 times, or however many times it ended up being. And the best part too, is after he's saved, he then channels all of the strength known to man to punch him so hard he is stripped down to his birthday suit, and all he is left with is the bill for all the destruction he did, a single coin to his name, which is the exact amount of money he was left with when he screwed him over, and then also a second chance at life. So you get the satisfaction of a scumbag getting what he deserves, but has the opportunity to pick himself up if he chooses to do so. And that really all happens because he decided to save a kid even in monstrous form. This was incredibly satisfying, and I love how savage our MC can be while also just seemingly being a decent person all at the same time. And these types of redemption stories can sometimes be eye-roll worthy because you're like, this dude's a scumbag. And while this dude was a scumbag, I generally think he got what he deserved, but also I would be very happy to see him in a season's time doing better. Great shit. Of course, though, if you want to support my work, see my full thoughts, so of course we have those full live reactions over on my Patreon if you're so interested. So good. Very good episode. Production's not crazy. The art is very consistent, but animation-wise, it's about as animated as something like, the beginning after the end. There's not a lot of frames, but it gets the job done. The thing that's really nice is just how enjoyable the characters are. Now, Zenos as an MC is perfect. He's everything I want. And while sometimes the girls themselves have their standout moments, they just kind of exist more or less, but I think their personalities are fun enough that they keep it all engaging. And I think watching him just scamper through the area, his whole time, he's just upset. He's like, I don't even know if someone's going to pay me for this. I'm healing 10 mothers and their kids. And he's like, oh, this is just draining me. This man is so, trauma bound to his past that he literally is like, everyone's dying around me, and I'm worried about who's going to pay me. And I love that because something I've said consistently throughout these videos is that he gives me the impression that no matter what, yes, he wants a fair price for his service, but he doesn't seem like a scumbag who would turn away a dying mother or their child because they didn't have the gold coin to pay him, right? And I think this episode really proves that fact because there was nothing at face value that made me believe these people are going to pay him for his service. Now, sure, if his goal was to make sure this man survives so he can pay the piper, that's arguable. But at the end of the day, he could have just focused on that thing and destroyed it, so maybe his inn or whatever doesn't get destroyed. But no, he chose to heal everyone in the slums first and then did that. Yes, it's funny seeing him bitch and moan that he doesn't know how he's going to get paid for all this slave labor from his point of view. But it was just a very nice point. I think it was what makes him a rootable character. And I've seen a lot of stories either just have that cold, ruthless MC who just cut down someone who, in this moment, probably deserved it. But I think what really helps is that at the end of the day, one, even if he didn't save the kid, I think he probably would have done something similar just because he wants him to probably suffer for his crimes, whether get arrested, he has to work off all the debt that he just incurred there, but also, he got his sword and everything like that. But I think that moment where you have a mindless monster destroying everything, but when it sees a child, purposely avoids falling on the child. The fact that we then get the confirmation that in his own past, a lot of like what he did was for a sister he couldn't save, right? So he has a soft spot for children not being able to grow up in a world that they should be able to. Does it excuse his bullshit behavior? No, but it makes him more human than he first appeared. And I think the idea that not only did he get a savage way of being saved initially, which was essentially cutting him to near death, healing him, cutting him to near death, healing him, to then say, okay, but now we're going to beat you so hard, you Team Rocket blast off again, your clothes are stripped down, here's all this crime you have to pay for on top of public indecency. Also, you have no sword because it's valuable, so we're going to go pawn it off at the pawn shop. But the icing on the cake was how it's a backhanded compliment. Giving him the exact amount of money that Zenos was left with when they set him free. You can't do much with that amount of money, but look at how much Zenos has been able to do with that amount of money and how he picked himself up off of rock bottom. The idea that it's pretty much saying like, you're left with the exact amount you left me, it's not a lot, it kind of sucks, but it does show you have the potential to start again if you're not going to be a dumbass scumbag. And to be honest, I genuinely believe he will turn out to be a good person later down the line in the story. And honestly, it was just satisfying. I think it has that element of brutality in a comedic twist that really entertains me, because when he initially striked him down, I was like, oh, he had to kill him. And then just to see the brutal surgery was insane. But it's just satisfying. It really was. You can tell, I'm going to be shocked if this wasn't, but it feels like the end of a light novel. Like, that's what this feels like. It could have been a season finale in a lot of ways, but it feels like the end of one of the books. And I'm interested to see where we'll go, because it feels like establishing stuff's out of the way. We got a very exciting arc. We have a antagonist who, I don't know what his end goal is other than to screw over Zenos, but I'm excited to see what they do there. Some good stuff, and it'll be interesting. The most interesting long-term thing is the political implications, because we have a government that purposely wants to keep people divided and poor and everything like that. And then we have this guy who's, making everyone's lives so much better. So it'll be interesting what they do. You let me know your thoughts down below, though. I think this was definitely one of the stronger episodes of Healer, and definitely has me excited for the second half of the season. But your thoughts? Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on my Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Old Man, David, Luke Brownfield, Devin Diago, Ashley Hawkham, Corbo, Casper Jewel Jensen, George Para, Carlos D. Lopez, and we also have Dries Vahic. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.